Today, she's half forgotten, but it's the pictures that cut small. She is the greatest star of all.
In the 1990s, a famous film was turned into a musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber. Billy Wilder's 1950 film, Sunset Boulevard, is about a silent movie actress desperate to get back on the screen. Her ex-husband and former director Max von Marling was played by a man who was forgotten by Hollywood.
I brought them myself. Is that so?
With his suave demeanor, his impeccable wardrobe that included a monocle, he could come onto a scene, not saying a single word, and made you feel like you had to respond to him. As a director, he earned a reputation for unparalleled egomania, arrogance, and self-indulgence. His constant changes of story and never being satisfied with sets and the detailing of things became his strength and weakness as a great artist.
Are you ready, Norma?
What is the scene?
This is the staircase of the palace.
Oh, yes. Yes. Down below, they're waiting for the princess.
All right. Cameras. Action!
In 1909, a penniless 24-year-old man by the name of Erich Oswald Stroheim sailed from Austria to the United States. Along the way, he created a new name and identity for himself.
Erich Oswald Hans Karl Maria Nordenwald von Stroheim. My father was an Austrian count. My mother, a German baroness and lady in waiting to the Empress of Austria.
Historians don't know much about Stroheim prior to 1909. He was the son of parents that had a modest hat-making shop, and that any career Erich had in Vienna were failures. During his first few years in America, he didn't fare much better. He had jobs as a package wrapper at a department store, a server at a restaurant, and with a job as a salesman of ladies' underwear, he traveled across the country, landing him in Southern California.
Like that. Now, get even! I'm not provoking this! Hit him over the head with a rolling pin! Great!
A well-known filmmaker, D.W. Griffith, was in the middle of making two epic-length movies. One of them, Intolerance from 1916, demanded a lot of labor, and von Stroheim found himself working for Griffith's studio. Von Stroheim worked his way up to becoming an assistant director and an actor in front of the camera. First as an extra, then a supporting actor, he appeared in several films over 2 years. In 1917, the U.S. was preparing to enter World War I. Hollywood studios began producing anti-German propaganda films, while a lot of people were being fired from jobs because of their German background or had German names. Erich von Stroheim was thriving. When he was on screen, he wanted you to watch him, and the heads of every studio were doing just that. In 1918, von Stroheim had his first big role in Heart of Humanity. He was said to be mesmerizing and appalling. He was said to be cold, robotic, cruel, becoming the man you love to hate. But then World War I ended, and it appeared to be the end of his acting career. Luckily, he had found a calling behind the camera.
I had graduated from the D.W. Griffith School of Filmmaking and intended to go the master one better.
Unfortunately, von Stroheim was not D.W. Griffith. He had no money and no track record as a director. But Carl Laemmle, head of Universal Studios at the time, found the Austrian to be a great storyteller, and at 33, von Stroheim was set to direct his first film, The Pinnacle, written by, starring, and directed by Erich von Stroheim himself. It was a movie about a love triangle with non-stereotypical characters, each having good and bad qualities about them. By the end of the film, the husband and wife have deepened their relationship, and they know each other better than at the start of the film. The film ends on a psychological realism, not a high triumph like most films back in that day. This film showed off some of his directing style, symbolic and elaborate visuals to create complex characters and themes. And it worked for him, at least with this movie. For most of the making of the film, Von Stroheim and the studio had a good relationship until he found out they were changing the name of his film. No matter what the title of the film was, the critics raved about it, calling Erich Von Stroheim a super director. His track record was starting out well, and Universal gave him the green light to write, direct, and star in his next picture, Foolish Wives. The film had lavish sets built, including a replica of a casino and a giant plaza. In addition to that, he wanted real plate glass in the windows so that they would reflect what the camera wouldn't show because they were behind the camera. In a way, the plate glass also reflected more of his directing style, obsessive attention for a realistic detail. "My cast will know it, and I will know it, and the camera will know it," was his response when asked about his want for realism. The budget for Foolish Wives was expanding to the point where Carl Laemmle had to send in his protege, Irving Thalberg, to keep an eye on the director. Even then, the picture was too expensive to turn a profit. Universal wouldn't let von Stroheim go that far again. So when they greenlit his next film, Merry-Go-Round, in 1929, he was allowed to write and direct only. He was not allowed to star in it. Von Stroheim promised to deliver the film on budget and on time. He would do neither. Universal would foot the bill, including paying for and having it shipped to Hollywood the actual carriage of Emperor Franz Joseph. But after 6 weeks, the studio had had enough, and Thalberg pulled von Stroheim off the film. After that, directors would no longer be in charge of their films. The producers would. His next project was a 9.5-hour film called Greed. It was a foreshadow to Erich von Stroheim's demise. Von Stroheim saw the film in a series or in 2 parts, but when the studio seized control of the film, they cut it down to just over 2 hours long. Von Stroheim was furious. By this time, the prolific director was not wanted by any of the major studios. He became a director and writer for a famous actor who owned an independent film company, Gloria Swanson. He wrote and directed Queen Kelly, starring Gloria Swanson herself. A 12-week shooting schedule was planned, but after 14 months, the movie still was a work in progress. The star fired the director, and that was the end of Erich von Stroheim's directing career. In the early 1930s, Erich von Stroheim had been married and had become a father, and he needed money. So he acted in several forgettable talkie films where he parodied himself. In 1936, he found professional redemption when French director Jean Reno gave him a starring role in Grand Illusion, which is now considered a masterpiece. With this film, von Stroheim gained respect for France and made his home there.
De vous revoir, pour Dieu. Je suis désolé de vous voir ici.
Nous aussi. Oui. Oui.
Prenez place, monsieur.
Non, merci, mon commandant.
À votre aise.
In 1949, he received a script but dismissed it at first, not liking how it was written. But in the end, he took the role of what he referred to as that goddamn butler role. The role was of a one-time silent film director who became a butler for a famous forgotten actress named Norma Desmond. She was played by the same actress who had fired Erich Von STROHEIM years before, Gloria Swanson. In one scene, Norma Desmond watches one of her movies. The movie shown is Queen Kelly. Even though he was nominated for an Academy Award for Sunset Boulevard in 1950, he would never hear from Hollywood again. Erich von Stroheim showed us how to make characters feel real so they can evolve and give an audience something to connect with. He taught us that we need to have creative control and that even filmmakers need to be good business people. And because of his want for realism, producers now have the power over films. Before he died in 1957, he said this: "I recognize that I had my own faults and made my mistakes. There is just one thing I'd like to say. Because of my attempt at sincerity, I have been condemned, hooted at, and reviled. I recognized a great desire in the minds of life as it is. I tried to give it to them my own way."